It's a good topic.
How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a victim of the world or the world itself? The problem with identification outward, that is into your world, from your senses going outward, is that it only leads you down a path of suffering. It can never ever bring true happiness. From the time that we are born, we know the mind has come into existence, right? You cannot exactly, if I ask you, when did you begin to exist? You cannot name a time. You cannot name a specific moment when you, the person, began existence, because the feeling always is that you have always existed. But somewhere along this journey, you began to believe the mind. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. It is how we were taught. It is how we were raised. From the time you were a child, it was all about pain and pleasure. Because if you follow the mind, whatever gives you pleasure is good, and whatever gives you pain is not so good. So your parents, how do they train you? They train you with reward and punishment. And they make you believe and accept that it's all about this outer world. Everything is outside you, including God. I was just listening to Alan Watts a few minutes ago, and he was saying that if you want to convince someone from the flat earth society that the earth is round, you can argue with that person from morning to night, but they will never accept the truth until they walk the path and there is a personal awakening. There is an awakening to the reality of what is. With our mind, with our senses, what has happened is that we see things, we hear things, we smell things, and we have translated that into something in our heads. Now, think about it. Is what you're seeing really outside of you? Is what you're hearing really outside of you? Or is it something that's going on inside your head, inside your brain, inside your mind? There is a real conflict about what and who we think we are. We follow what the concepts that our mind has created. We follow the values that have been put in, that have been accepted. And we are frightened to go against it. We don't want to diverge, move away from the path that has been set out for us. And therein lies the problem. Following the mind that tells you that you are not successful, you are not good if you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you don't come here, if you don't go there. All that it leads you to is just a series of pain. More and more and more pain. nothing else. Anything in the outer world is going to result in pain. Mental conditioning is the hardest to recognize. You use certain kind of, I'll tell you an incident where on Instagram I made a comment on someone's post when I saw them using a lot of profanity. And the trolls just completely sort of jumped on me, and they were just in support of profanity and a bad language. It's who we are, it's what it is, it's what the world is. Where are you? Are you sleeping? And I was thinking to myself that people have no idea who they are. They are not a bunch of words. They are not a bunch of bad ideas or a wrong conditioning or a bunch of fears or lots of anger. See, we think that we stand, this is us, this is our personality, this is me, this is who I stand for. And we falsely follow that. We follow that and follow that out into this world. And our actions are guided by a false sense of who we are. And we attack the movie on the screen outside of us. We attack the screen. And we don't even know that all that you need to do is put in a new film. You can recondition your mind. You can change the way you think. I'll speak for myself. Say 15 years ago, I was very given to anger. You can ask my children about this. I would lose my temper if things did not go the way I wanted it to go. Several times in a day. What happens when you meditate? And you don't meditate just once a week. You meditate each and every day. Each and every day. You keep the meditation up. As you meditate, you develop the awareness to understand that the moment before that anger sort of comes up and bursts, you catch it. You catch it. And then you tell yourself that happiness is my birthright. When you shout, when you scream, it only creates unpleasantness. It only creates mental disturbance. It only upsets other people. It only ruffles other feathers. Is that who you want to be? Is that who you are? We are all, they say, we're all, the word persona, who we think we are. This is my personality. This is who I am. This is who I stand for. The word persona comes from a Greek word which means mask. So it is a mask that you're wearing. It is a role that you believe to be yours. And we do, when you go and see a show, when you go and see a tragedy or a comedy, the actors do their utmost to make you believe that this is real, this is true. Cry, cry. This is the tragedy of life. These things are going to happen. That's going to happen. This person died. That person was killed. And then you go into the green room and they've taken off their masks and there's somebody else. Right? So we forget who our nature is. We identify with what we falsely believe to be true. This outer veneer, this outer existence, this outer shell. We take that to be true and we follow it faithfully. When all of it is true, like you become the victim of the world. You become caught up in all of the outer drama, where you are the victim. You are the one that has to work hard. You are the one that's not getting the job. You are the one who lost their family members. You are the one who's an overworked mother. You are the one that has no time for anything, anybody, any place. It is a complete tragedy. Right? If you follow that back to the source, if you keep going back saying, where does that thought come from? What does the thought even mean? There was once a Zen master who somebody came to him and said, I want a peaceful mind. I just want to be calm. I want to be peaceful. He says, oh, okay. So where is your mind? So show me where your mind is and I will calm it for you. So the student looked and looked and looked for the mind and he just couldn't find it. He says, oh, very well then, it's probably very calm now. If it's not there, it's got to be calm. So we are continuously following something which is not even there. We believe it to be true. And we are thoroughly miserable. This moment is your opportunity to break it all. To break the conditioning, to break the psychological thoughts, to get to your day each day without thinking of the burden of work, to be present every moment. That is the teaching, that is the awakening. The awakening is to realize that you are the world. You are not the victim. Everything, you cannot separate the experience from the experiencer. That is to say that if I'm going to sell you a house, that means you have to buy the house. There is always buying and selling combined. The opposites always go together. It is all one experience. Just as you cannot, you're not aware of certain activities, like you're not aware of your heart beating or your breath moving through your body. You cannot be aware that you are the sun shining, that you are the poor person in the ghettos of Brazil, that you are the wealthy landowner. Everything is you because you are, and therefore the world is. You are not a victim of the world. You are the world itself. Think how big and how fantastic that feeling is. How small you're thinking. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my job and I can't solve this problem. And you're thinking too small. You're thinking mind, body. You are bigger. You are the universe. That was, this magnificent creation. All of it is you. Now when you start believing that, you break the old thinking. Because then the light of awareness shines. And when a dark room is lit up, suddenly you can see clearly what you are. But for that to happen, there has to be some effort. You have to take the effort to meditate. You have to take the effort to do the breathing every single day. If you do it once a week, then expect to be free of your mental conditioning once a week. You want to relieve yourself every day, then do it every day. Because that is what refreshes you. That is what energizes you. That is what connects you to yourself. That is what makes you realize how huge, how big you are. Om Namah Shivaya.